Boomer TV is made possible with support from
Westport Homes, dedicated to building homes for every chapter of life, with plans and details that match a customer's specific needs and style. More information on Westport Homes' lifestyle collection, including community locations, at westport-home.com.
Welcome to Boomer TV and our brand new chapter. I'm Paul Poteet. This is Julie Patterson.
And this is a brand new season of Boomer TV right here on WFYI. I think you're going to like it.
You like what I've done with the place?
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
We'll get to that a little later in the show.
Right, yeah, we got a lot of great stories coming up.
We sure do. One of them involves a writer who got his start in high school at Shortridge High School.
Yeah, there's a couple of famous writers who got their start there, and you'll meet one of them, Dan Wakefield. That's coming up.
That is coming up. We'll also talk to some wonderful folks at a great Italian restaurant downtown, Iozzo's.
There is an interesting story that I'll tell you about why they had to close the first time.
Oh.
So there's going to be some drama coming up, as well as some great food. On this first episode of Boomer TV, you want to get started?
Why not? Let's do it.
It's coming up next. Okay, I see something about fans coming up on our show, and I'm wondering, weather related?
No, it's not.
Not everything is weather related?
No, Paul, it is not.
Okay.
This is the International Fan Museum. It's in Zionsville, Indiana. These kind of fans. So you're kind of on the right track.
Oh, okay.
I'm a fan, and so is Michael Atwood.
Join the club.
Fanimation in Zionsville sells some of the sleekest, most modern-looking ceiling fans to customers throughout the world. But all things new are destined someday to be old. That's okay. Fanimation also has a place for these fans once they become antiques. That's because Fanimation is also home to some of the oldest fans. Welcome to the only dedicated antique ceiling and desk fan museum in the world open to the public. Our tour guide is Fanimation's Tom Frampton. And you guessed it, Tom is a big fan of fans.
Well, we're at Fanimation and we're in the Antique Fan Museum portion of Fanimation.
There are old fans and older fans here. Electric fans, both big and small, are popular. Turns out electricity played a huge role in the development of fan technology.
Fans obviously started very simple,
Right.
and then became more and more complex.
Right. They probably started with the Egyptians, just a palm fan, but you had the advent of electricity and it went from there.
But in the days before electricity, let's call this era BE, folks still had fans. It all began with hand-powered fans, an invention that has withstood the test of time. Over the years, there have been water-powered fans, steam-powered fans, alcohol-powered fans, foot-powered fans.
An ingenious device that Franklin enjoyed.
Yes, this is a reproduction of a chair fan he owned.
And by Franklin, we mean Ben Franklin.
Benjamin Franklin, sure.
There are even celebrity fans. This fan blew him away on the set of Mad Men. And this breezy number was featured in the Perry Mason TV series.
Well, here's a good example of a fan, a very unusual fan called just a hidden
that.
fan, but designed to disappear when you don't really want to see it.
So it's decorative, and then when you want a fan, you turn it around.
Yeah, it's gone.
Now here's one that you restored.
So this is a good example of one that was just totally destroyed. The cage was bent, the blades were broken off, the case was all broken apart. So this was a total restoration. Probably looks better than the day it was made. Here's another one called a roller coaster.
Oh, look at that.
So 360 degrees
Oh,
and
wow.
up and down.
But wait, there's more. 2 full floors of fans representing 2 eras of fan technology, from the really old to the pretty darned old. Over 2,000 fans. But some of these old fans are also pretty darn valuable.
Some of these fans are very valuable.
Yeah, some of them are very valuable. want to say about it, but
No one come here and steal fans.
Program disclaimer: Boomer TV in no way condones nor promotes fan thievery, but we do encourage silly brief forays into nostalgic moments from our childhoods.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
A fan. Before computers and auto-tune, kids could entertain themselves, at least for a few minutes, with fan vibrato.
Almost as much fun as using helium to make your voice sound funny.
Da-da-da, dun-dun. That's the Perry Mason theme, right? Da-da-da, dun-dun.
That's right, kids. This is the way your parents and grandparents amused themselves back in the day. Most of the fans in the Antique Fan Museum are fans Tom collected over the years. His love for fans began when he was just a teenager. Other fans are on loan to the museum from even more fans of fans.
well, there's a club of us, the Antique Fan Collectors Association, and we're the host for the museum. So this is essentially their museum, although most of the fans are mine, but there's probably 50, 60 other collectors who have fans on loan here besides myself.
Why in the world would someone collect antique fans? Tom has no idea.
Why do people want to collect fans?
I don't know. It's a good question. We get kids in here that are 2 or 3 years old that are already fascinated by fans, and all the way up in age.
It's just something he and others love to do. Many collectors of items both simple and strange are often at a loss for words when asked to define their passion. I am reminded of the French philosopher René Descartes. I collect, therefore I am. Or was it, I think, therefore I fan?
Tom, thanks for taking some time to show us around Fanimation's Antique Fan Museum.
Sure.
You know, after seeing all this, I'm your biggest fan.
Really? Huh, this is actually my biggest fan.
Oh, that's your biggest fan.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
It is.
For Boomer TV, I'm Michael Atwood.
I have a question for you, Paul.
Please ask away.
Can you sing?
No.
I'm going to go with no.
Ouch.
That's okay.
I
You know
heard
what?
that just fine.
A lot of people can't sing, but there are many very, very, very talented people here in the Indianapolis area that can, and some of them actually get together and rehearse on Butler's campus.
A story about the Indianapolis Children's Choir from Jill Dittmeyer.
The Indianapolis Children's Choir was founded in 1986 by Henry Leck, who was head of choral studies at Butler University.
The Chicago Children's Choir was coming to perform here, and they called him and said, hey, we would like some homestays to help with these kids. And so he gathered his colleagues, friends, and said, fine, that'd be great. Didn't know much about them, but when he heard them sing, his jaw dropped, because he just couldn't believe that a child could make that quality of sound.
Leck started with a summer music festival for 200 kids. Today, over 1,000 young people take part in a number of ICC programs.
Kids from all around central Indiana, and they range from 18 months to 18 years old. So we have what we call our First Steps program, which is for preschoolers and kindergartners, and then our choirs that start performing are in first grade, and that goes all the way through 12th grade. And so any singer from central Indiana that likes to sing, any student that likes to sing, has a passion for music, there's a place for them here. And we even have a special needs choir, so students who have special needs have a place where they can come and express themselves.
We've also understand that there's an opportunity maybe for some boomers to sing as well.
Yes, we do. We have these side-by-side programs, so people come and sing alongside the Indianapolis Children's Choir. And so yes, we have a side-by-side, it's called the Silver Singers, which will be happening here in the next month.
ICC opportunities are unlimited.
The 1,000 singers that Josh was talking about, so that's the 1,000 singers in those programs. Then with the preschool, with our outreach, we commit over a quarter of our budget to outreach and accessibility. So our total reach, believe it or not, is now 5,000 children throughout 20 counties in Indiana in all kinds of programs.
The ICC creates a budget to maintain that outreach and quality.
We embarked on a campaign 2 years ago to endow the artistic director's position, this young man's position, in honor of Henry, so that we are assuring for future generations of kids who none of us will ever know, that the ICC is here for them, and that the right artistic director is always going to be in this position. Because Josh had the pleasure of being groomed by our founder. That's not always going to be the case. So this position is very unique in that not only do you need an excellent musician, but you need also a person who understands children's music, but also understands the child personally. If you don't have someone who loves children and is not a wonderful musician, then that's the wrong person.
What is my big takeaway is how I know that our world, our community, is going to be in good hands. Because these are incredible young people. They care, they have great leadership skills, and they want to make a difference. And what we get out of these rehearsals is something that most people don't realize. You know, we're covering topics that talk about different cultures and their language and political issues that are going on through music, and what these children have to say about that, what these young adults have to say about that, and their take on it is absolutely incredible. So what I take away from it is joy, because I know we're having a positive influence on their lives, and they're making a positive influence on my life. And you know, we're sitting in my office here, and one of the crew said, you know, you've got a lot of nice knickknacks and stuff, and most of them come from my students. And it just reminds me of why I come to work every day, to be with them, to make a difference, and to see the joy that they have for what they do.
The family, it's so important. Julie, have you ever thought of a family business?
No.
That's the interesting thing about this family that you're about to meet. They love working together.
Oh yeah, great Italian family, great Italian food. It's downtown. Paul Potit's going to take us to Iozzo's.
Look at all of those guys. Those guys all have something in common with this lady.
Yes.
Who is our guest today. You know, Paul Potit's got to eat. And so I heard from friends of mine that the place to come is downtown, and Katie Harris is downtown. And what's your connection with all those guys?
Sure. Well, the gentlemen that you see there are my great-grandfather, my grandfather, and my great-uncle. They were the founders and the proprietors of Iozzo's Garden of Italy when it was originally opened in 1930.
So this place is rocking. It's a place people go to celebrate special events, and then something happens.
Absolutely. So in October of 1940, my grandfather Dominic was tending bar. A couple gentlemen come into the restaurant and sit up at the bar and order a few drinks. Well, at some point during the evening, they began making passes towards my great Aunt Mary. Well, my grandfather didn't like that too much, so he kindly asked them to leave. They didn't like that too much, so they began arguing with my grandpa. Well, the argument turned into a fight. The fight basically turned into an all-out brawl where they had my grandfather on the ground beating him to death. My great-grandfather, who's in the office, comes out and sees what's going on, is like, oh my God, they're gonna kill my son. So he goes back into the office and grabs the gun, comes out and shoots the guy, who at this point is on top of my grandfather, strangling him. Now the bullet passes through this gentleman and lands in my grandfather's spleen. Unfortunately, that night, the gentleman who the bullet passed through passed away. And so the police were like, well, we're charging you with murder. So they charged my grandfather and my great-grandfather with murder. So the sensational trial of Fred S. Iozzo lasted a few months, and my great-grandfather was eventually convicted, but convicted of involuntary manslaughter.
That is a crazy story.
Yeah, and part of the sentencing was the family was never able to get our tavern license back, so they were never able to reopen Iozzo's. So in 2009, with some help of family and friends, I decided let's give it a shot. So here we are serving our famous spaghetti and meatballs. My mother actually came up with this idea to serve the meatball martini. So we found these really cute little mini martini glasses, and people loved it, and we were like, well, let's do it at the restaurant.
And you make your own wine.
We do, yes. We go out to California every year and out of Paso Robles and work with a winemaker out there, Rich Hartenberger, and do a private label wine for the restaurant. So our first vintage was named after my great-grandfather, Santora. So we went out and made a Sangiovese and have it available here at the restaurant. There's a fun little story on the back. about kind of honoring 100 years of our family's history in Indianapolis. What we have here, this is our Zozo shrimp.
Zozo shrimp.
Absolutely. So it's lightly breaded and flash fried and then topped in a sweet, spicy chili sauce, served over a bed of romaine lettuce. And it's one of our most popular appetizers.
I can see why.
We also have our lasagna bolognese. It's a 5-cheese vegetarian lasagna, layered up and then served half with our bolognese sauce and half with our Alfredo sauce. Now our bolognese sauce has our veal, pork, and beef, a little bit of heavy cream, some carrots, some celery, a true northern style bolognese sauce. Perfect way to end dinner at Iozzo's is to have a homemade sea salt brownie. So it's a homemade brownie topped with a little bit of Mediterranean sea salt, fresh vanilla ice cream, and we drizzle it with salted caramel and chocolate sauce. It's absolutely delicious.
Now, people that may not be familiar with downtown, kind of describe where we are right now.
Sure, no, absolutely. We're located in the Stadium Village, just in the shadows of Lucas Oil Stadium, on South Meridian Street, just about a block and a half from Shapiro's, a landmark restaurant up the street.
Katie Harris, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it. You've got a great history, and you've got a great restaurant.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Iozzo's down on the just south of Indianapolis area. They make their own desserts. They make their own wine. You got a pretty good life.
We do. I love it. I love sharing my family's meatballs with the city of Indianapolis.
Very nice. Well, thank you for sharing it with Boomer TV.
Thank you.
We know that a lot of baby boomers are considering downsizing these days.
Me and Mrs. Poteet have had this chat before, just in case, you know.
Well, there's a lot of cool features in some of the new homes out there.
And Julie is going to show us some of them.
You know, Marilyn, as we baby boomers enter the next chapter in our life, many of us want to downsize, but right size. We don't want tiny spaces, more open concept.
It's a lifestyle change, like the open concept. 9-foot ceilings are great, lots of light, just the open concept for entertaining.
Even though there's less square footage, it's still lots of room.
Exactly.
You know, you want to still have places to go. For example, the kitchen.
Isn't that wonderful?
Look at this island. It's huge.
Can you just picture the grandkids making cookies here, doing crafts here?
Absolutely.
Entertaining. Very open for entertaining. And then notice the under cabinet lighting. That's really important.
I can see that being a nightlight.
It truly is, yeah. Want to get up and have something for a snack?
It's already on for you so you can see where to go.
And then you run into this dining room. Great place to entertain all your friends, have the big family gatherings.
And there's plenty of space if you have the table extensions. You can put those in and seat, 10 people easily.
Most people want to come over to Grandma and Grandpa's house for holiday dinners, and this is perfect for that.
Absolutely is.
This is our all-season room. Isn't this wonderful?
Yes, my in-laws had a space like this in their home. They called it the Florida room, so.
It is a Florida room, all the windows. Can't you just picture sitting down here, reading a book, having your morning coffee?
Putting a grandchild on your lap,
rocking the grandkids. I think a lot of boomers are looking for this space also.
Yeah, there's lots of things you could do in here.
Come on into the master bedroom.
Oh my goodness, spacious like a suite.
It is.
And these doorways, they're wheelchair accessible?
They are, 36 inches wide. They're also great for moving furniture.
Oh, good point. I notice you have handles that are easy to operate. There's no getting stuck turning.
They are. They're very easy and they're comfortable. And you want to come in and look at our wonderful bath. The bath area is really important for this generation. Do you notice the higher countertops?
Yeah, there's a lot of space to put your stuff on here too. Separate storage areas for, it's his and hers, very his and hers.
Very important. But it's easier, just to come over and brush your teeth and put your makeup on. You're not leaning over. This is what's really important with this one too. As you say, lots of extra storage.
Good lighting too.
Yes, lighting is really important. I don't know if you noticed, but they're wider. This is another thing you need to look for is the width in your bathroom.
2 people navigating the space.
Exactly. Yeah. We need a little bit more space here. The low entry shower with a seat. The seat's very important because we like to just sit and relax, and sometimes we have an issue with backs. This is great for that. There is lots of storage, which is really important to the boomers.
This is a large closet.
This is a neat closet. Baby boomers, They have a lot of stuff they bring with them.
We've accumulated quite a bit.
We have, and we like to filter through, and we like to think our clothes are still going to fit us after 10 years, so we bring them all.
That's true. Well, Marilyn, there certainly are a lot of things to consider for those who might want a lifestyle change anytime soon.
And you can get a beautiful, beautiful home and not have to downsize too much.
Really, this is amazing. This island, my favorite feature of the whole home.
Yeah, it truly is. The kitchen is the heart of the home.
It is.
Thank you for coming through, Julie.
Sure, learned a lot.
Good.
Mr. Wakefield, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
You know, you did some work for me when I was editing Nouveau.
Yes.
And some of the work you did seemed to loop back on some of your earliest work, I thought. You covered the Emmett Till murder trial for The Nation back in '55. You've always been interested in things like social justice and racial inequality, and that's why you wound up doing the story for us at Nouveau on folks from Indianapolis who were put into Japanese internment camps and telling their stories years later.
Yes, yeah, I was amazed. I never knew about that, and I was thrilled to know that Indianapolis was one of the cities that volunteered to help some of those people come back into regular society, get out of the prison camps. And of course, their only crime was that they were Japanese and they were living on the West Coast.
You went from reporter to novelist. Man, that seems like that'd be a heck of a jump. How did you have to change your skill set? What kind of different muscles do you use when you jump from nonfiction
well,
to
I
fiction?
think that was always my intent. I mean, to me, journalism was like warming up to do the novel.
Oh.
And that was my great goal.
You were from Indianapolis, you wrote Going All the Way, you set it in Indianapolis, put the Red Key on the map nationally, put you on the map nationally, and your friend Kurt Vonnegut said you'd never be able to come back to Indianapolis again after that book came out.
Yeah, that was pretty true for a long time. And yeah, I had death threats and people were gonna come to Boston where I lived and beat the hell out of me and other things like that. Everybody thought they were a figure or their old girlfriend was a figure in the novel, which was not true. There was even only one figure who was based on somebody.
You wound up working for network TV for a brief period of time too. You were responsible for the creation of James at 15.
Yeah.
The show. I looked up the ratings on that pilot. You got a 42 share for that pilot. That thing was a smash. You were with that show for one season. They changed the title to James at 16, and you wound up leaving the show because of creative differences with the producers, right?
Creative differences, they wouldn't let us mention birth control.
Right, yep. It did give you the experience of creating a screenplay, which led you to writing the screenplay for Going All the Way, turning your novel into a screenplay.
I said to the two, the director and producer, I'll only do it if I can meet with you guys every 20 pages. The screenplay is about 120 pages. And these two guys were great. It was their first film. They were very idealistic. They wanted the writer to be in on it all the time. The novel had been optioned 5 times before, but everybody else wanted to shoot it in Toronto or LA and make it in the 80s or something. And these were the only guys that said, we want to shoot it in Indianapolis, we want you to write the script, and we want to keep it in 1954. And that's what made it.
You're still writing, you're involved in all kinds of stuff. You did the show for WFYA-FM, the Uncle Dan Story Hour, you're doing the thing in the Jazz Kitchen. The Uncle Dan and Sophie Show is, I believe, the title of that. And you also had a park named after you. There's Dan Wakefield Park at 61st and Broadway. I was there at the dedication. I heard from Richard Lugar. We heard from Mayor Hogsett speaking. What is that like when you get the call that, hey, we're going to name a park after Dan Wakefield?
It was a shock. It was great to have Lugar there. Lugar and I wrote rival sports columns on the Shortridge Daily Echo. And he wrote on the Tuesday Echo, and I wrote on the Thursday Echo. And we had a lot of fun teasing each other, and we've remained friends through the years.
Journalism's been on hard times, at least in the print universe. Well, in general, it has. Do you have advice for aspiring writers, somebody who wants to get into the business, whether it's fiction or nonfiction? What would you say to them?
It's ironic because there's a million places you can write. You can write online, and you know, one of the great things Mark Vonnegut said last night, you don't have to have permission to write. You don't have to have an agent to write. All you need is a pencil and a piece of paper. And I know people who are publishing their own books and making their own publicity. A woman I got to know who went to Shortridge, Alita Hodge, wrote a book that's just come out on Indiana Avenue. She's been on radio interviews. She published it herself. And it's more now like a do-it-yourself game.
Dan, we'll see you at the Red Key.
Okay.
Get a glass of wine and a burger. Sound good?
And come to the Uncle Dan and Sophie show at the Jazz Kitchen.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thanks for watching Boomer TV right here at our new home, WFYI.
Went by very fast, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know what?
What?
We have to do it again next week.
Okay, have to? I can't wait, actually.
It's going to be wonderful, and we hope that you tell a friend that we're going to be right here. See you then.
Tell everybody you know. We'll see you at 7:30 next week.
For more all things Boomer, just visit our website. That's indieboomer.com. Indie Boomer connects TV, magazine, and radio. It contains useful information for baby boomers all over the Indianapolis metropolitan area. And you can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Pick up Indie Boomer magazine at most Kroger stores and libraries. Look for us all over Indy.
Listen to Boomer Radio every Saturday afternoon at 4:30 p.m. on Freedom 95 with a rebroadcast Sundays at 7:30. Indie Boomer, for the next chapter of your life. Westport Homes, dedicated to building homes for every chapter of life, with plans and details that match a customer's specific needs and style. More information on Westport Home Lifestyle Collection, including community locations, at westport-home.com.